Hello, everyone. We didn't forget about this today.
It's going to be one of those things that we remember to do maybe once a month, isn't it?
Yeah, we still need to adjust it somehow because 10 people left during the intro. They were probably shocked that this is something else we signed up to. This is not umbraCoffee. But yeah, welcome everyone in the episode 202. And hello, Callum. How are you?
I'm good, Marcin. A very busy week for me. Very tired, but I'm scraping through. I really need the weekend. How about you? How's your week been?
Yeah, same here probably. Jumping from 100 things to another 100 things to deliver, but yeah, exciting times and events ahead of time. So yeah, definitely a good time of the year. But I didn't realize that we are in the middle of November already.
Well, I was going to say some of the news we're going to be talking about today has really reminded me how little is left of 2021. And it feels like weeks ago that we were at Code Garden and a couple of months ago that we were starting the year off. But damn, it's gone quickly.
And people, if you're watching us, let us know how's your week. We are always leave this comment on the YouTube channel. Let us know if you're also busy like that, or if not, we will find you and we'll transfer some of work in umbraCoffee preparations for you then.
Take some of my work.
But yeah, it was an amazing week again, and we can start from Umbraco news, starting from Umbraco 9.1 release,
or as I kept calling it last week, 8.9.1.
Yes,
it's V9 Soren, isn't it?
Yes, this is the Soren edition with history cleanup, improved 404 pages, dashboard improvements, RTs, dependencies, and some breaking changes, and a lot of community contributions already merged from not only Hacktoberfest but the previous work. Similar as previously, a great video from the Umbraco HQ team highlighting all of the features and contents of the new release. And yeah, I think we've been discussing a lot of these features already from the RCs and the rest of the discussions around it. So if anyone is not yet familiar with what's there, it's definitely worth checking and just scanning even through this blog post. I think it's one of these releases again that we safely updated some of our projects. Everything just works. No issues, no problems, and that's amazing again.
I did the exact same thing yesterday. Small V9 site from whatever the V9.2 or V9.1 or something straight up to this worked brilliantly. Upgrade took about 30 seconds. It's the first, I guess, minor upgrade we've done for a V9 site so far because they've all been just either starting on 9 or whatever. But yeah, it's so easy and it's so quick. And if you know about some of the changes to the internals to NuGet with .NET Core, they've got like a centralized cache now. And it's all a lot quicker. So the update, as I say, literally took 30 seconds. It's a NuGet dependency update. No files in my solution were changed, unlike in V8 when you do an upgrade and you have like, oh, we've changed all of the grid and we've changed everything. Nothing changed. It was just, got a new package reference and you're good to go. Very cool.
I was amazed recently because during the hackathon we were working with Agent on some .NET Core projects, and the one change of the dependency version was just causing the whole project to run the new version. I was saying, oh, that's amazing. But of course, we had a feeling, we blamed Umbraco 9.1 for not doing something correctly because something worked in V9 and didn't work on V9.1. But it turned out that it was our typo and the reference mismatch between the projects and everything just works. So it was our fault and typo. But yeah, I like this kind of working and more, to be honest. And this whole new way of doing things in .NET Core is just amazing. And once again, I think I can say privately and personally that I'm happy that we are finally able to do this kind of development on top of the Umbraco CMS. So yeah, good one. Definitely worth upgrading and checking out.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic. And the more we get into doing more and more with V9, the more, it's just like it's a whole new world of modern stuff. I was talking with Carol this morning about some of the great .NET 6 things which we can do with Umbraco 9 now as well, like minimal APIs and all this cool stuff. So it would possibly be wrong to say that we're kind of on the cusp of like the latest technology because it's taken a few years to get here and we should have been there, a lot longer ago. But it does feel great to be up to date. And from everything the HQ team is saying, we're going to be keeping up to date with all of these kind of new evolutions of the .NET platform as well. So it's going to be a really rewarding time to be involved with with Umbraco, I think.
I think someone today asked somewhere on Twitter or Slack about production-ready V9 sites. I think it's worth maybe refreshing this poll on Twitter or somewhere. How many of us here in the Umbraco community are running production sites on V9 already, or at least aiming to release one in the soon time? Because I think it's switched a lot into the 9 versions than it was half a year ago, even because of the lack of trust in the stabilization of this. But of course, we are in the position where nothing stops us right now from running production sites on V9 for sure. So yeah, that's the one. Second one is maybe less optimistic for some of the people, but because it's about prices and changes of some of the prices of Umbraco services. But there are some good messages from here. I didn't realize it before, but Umbraco TV is free from today. Previously, it was added to certifications and some partnerships levels, and now it became free. So that's a good change.
Yeah, it's definitely a positive change because, I mean, yeah, let's be very honest. Umbraco TV hasn't been where it's needed to be for quite a while. So yeah, and I think that the material that they've done with cloud and stuff that's been free on YouTube has been far better quality, far more accessible as well. So I guess that's the next stage of this.
But that's exactly what's here. That going forwards, all the new Umbraco tutorials will be found on YouTube. And again, it's in our personal YouTuber's opinion, it's better for the project because it will be easier to find it. It will be easier to spread it, share it, and yeah, just amazing. So that's the first change. Of course, the rest of the changes is about increases of some pricings for the partnerships, gold partnerships, and product prices. Small changes in some of the areas, especially
they're about 5%. So I think before it was mentioned, I don't know if it's in this blog post, it was mentioned in a Slack channel where annually HQ will choose to increase their prices in line with inflation and whatever else.
What's the inflation rate in UK now, Callum?
I don't know. There was something I read the other day that this is not the place to talk about economics, but there's something I read the other day that was like, if the government hadn't been controlling costs and loaning money and stuff, inflation would be something like 45% this year, which is insane. But about 5%, 4.2%.
Yeah, 6% here and growing. So I follow that. But yeah, that's of course describes why some changes are made because
I know a few people were unhappy. Of course, saying things are going to cost more never goes down well. People don't want to pay more for getting the same thing. However, that as a business owner, I guess we look at this from a different point of view. We pass these costs on to the client. Their costs across the board will probably have gone up 5 or 6% with most other suppliers as well. And maybe we should be looking at doing the same for ourselves, because if generally the cost of offering the service has gone up, maybe rethink about your rates. Maybe this is a nice annual reminder to have a little think. And I was thinking off the back of this, Stack Overflow each year do their developer survey, and they kind of get an idea of what languages people are working with. And I know a lot of other companies do salary surveys and stuff. I would be very interested to know in an anonymized way what Umbraco developers around the world expect to be paid, but also what agencies charge and what they feel that they can justify as the cost for their services, because that would be a really good indicator to decide, actually, are these prices for partnership and for training, etc., set at the right level, or are they too high, too low? I'd be really interested. And I don't suppose that information exists. So I don't know, maybe someone would like to take that challenge on.
That's exciting. I would say from the business perspective, of course, mostly. But I saw some jobs like that, job boards like that, doing it in Poland for specific roles like C# developer and front end developer in specific areas. But never seen it Umbraco related. But I would definitely love to see.
You can never trust. I personally never trust what you see on Glassdoor or any of these sites, because people just report whatever they want. But I'd be very interested to know a kind of in London, the average Umbraco agency rate for maybe an agency of small, medium, or large size is X, and a freelancer gets Y, and whatever. Because guarantee there's people out there being underpaid and also overpaid for what they do, and I think it would help the industry a lot to be transparent. It shouldn't be such a taboo subject talking about money.
Yeah. And now it's changing thanks to Corona again and remote
Mm.
opportunities and going crazy from the other perspective as well.
Yeah.
But just to close this topic, I saw one tool for social media management, to be fair, who changed their prices just by going them up by 200% from day to day. And they said, okay, it was completely fine. New clients received new prices, they paid for it. If they see the tool, this is amazing and worth paying for that like that. Previous clients has the previous pricing, and that's completely normal in some of the cases. So of course, we who follows that and who paid less and now needs to pay more may suffer more, but it's just a normal effect. And of course, the more people follows, Richard, for example, right, as well announced this year that he's going to charge new prices from January 1st. But after 4 years, it's the first increase of the pricing.
And the increase is 20% or something, 25%, which
again,
is about in line with a 4 year thing. And it's way too cheap. People, I don't understand why we've discussed this before. Why people try and rip off a lot of the popular packages like SEO Checker or CMS Import or Media Protect. Media Protect, there's about 15 versions out on the internet. Someone goes, I can build this quicker, cheaper. It won't cost me whatever it costs here, 149 euros or something. Come on, it's so cheap. Just buy it.
Yeah, that's the matter of perspective, of course. If we've discussed this a lot of the time, a lot about, for example, building free software on top of the free open source software. Why I need to pay for anything? and then you spend 2 weeks on writing small feature, then you can save your 2 weeks by paying 100 euros, right? So it's a matter of perception and decisions, and wrong and bad decisions as well coming after that. So yeah, I believe we will expect more of these, of course, and it's always it's not a taboo, as we've said, to discuss this. It's normal thing and normal decisions. We should respect owners of packages and tools and software and their decision. And yeah, if we don't want to use it, we don't need to pay for it. But if we want to save some time or replace our time by license from someone else, let's just do it.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah,
and there's always been criticism of Umbraco Cloud costing too much and that sort of stuff, but as far as we see it, if it saves us time, it's worth the money. So you could was it Anthony this week saying he found a VPS?
Yeah, VPS.
And you said, oh, I've got one that's like the equivalent of £7 a year.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's great, but do you get support or anything for that? Like it's just
I don't know. I just knew that this service exists, and this is, you always can find something cheaper. You can always find something more expensive. I shared it just because of this reason, because it's not the battle of cheaper, better, free, and stuff like that. But if you really need some tooling or some tool software, and you're desperate to use it, you will pay no matter what if it will deliver the value and save you some time and money as well. So it's just. It always you can find something cheaper and for free as well. But 35 zlotys per year is extremely cheap.
Mad.
But cannot mine crypto on that. It's in the regulations. So that's because. Cool. The next releases are product releases. Umbraco and updates. Umbraco Forms and Deploy. Previously being in tests. Some of the really cool features and additions added to both products. I'm not using Umbraco Deploy anywhere yet, but I saw a lot of great improvements there as well. But in Forms, some conditions work, some workflow improvements, and accessibility improvements as well. And all of them, of course, described really, really great in these videos here in the blog post. Definitely worth upgrading. And still, Andy is doing amazing work in maintaining this package and delivering constant values and additions to them since he joined the team as well. Callum, do you use Umbraco Deploy anywhere?
No, and I'll be honest, we had a client talk to us the other day about they're doing an upgrade from V7 to V8 or 9, unknown, but they have Courier currently, and Courier's long dead. And so it's what do we replace it with? And they're not a like for like replacement. It's effectively a set it up again from scratch. And we looked at deploy and we looked at using complete. And I think the kind of on balance, even though we've got a decent gold partner discount at the moment for deploy, on balance, we said actually using complete inspires a bit more confidence. Historically, I guess there's a better track record there, and this client was a bit risk averse. So we've gone with using complete in almost every case instead of deploy. That's not to say that we wouldn't. And I think I've said this numerous times, but the new cloud infrastructure really excites me. And of course, deploy is an integral part of that, and we would happily work
bundled within pricing as well, right? That's
I just don't know if we would
calculation
want
again.
I just don't know if we want to do the on-premises thing. I don't know if it's for us. I guess
Yeah.
it's really targeted at the people that want to control all of their infrastructure and can't host on cloud.
Yeah, but yeah, that's evolving for sure, and is a great in the next competition to using complete, and yeah, everyone can check and change and choose. I'm curious from people how many of people are using it on premises. So if you are using it on premises, share your use case, share your journey. I think it would be lovely to see good examples and some good experiences with both tooling on top of the Umbraco installations. The next one is some upgrades from Skybrat and Anders. Redirects package Alpha 6 for V9.
It's got a lot of alphas to this. We've been using it on our V9 site, and it works very well. I don't know why it's still an alpha, to be honest. I guess, yeah.
Blink to Anders. Yeah, I haven't installed it yet, but I was collecting the list of must-have packages recently in some of the starters for our projects, and yeah, this package was on the list, and I'm happy to see it for V9 already. But yeah, if it's stable, if it works, if it does the same amazing job as previously, no-brainer for this one. So yeah, new alpha. Everyone can check it. The next is some new upgrades for Doctype grid editor from Soren for both Umbraco 8 and 9. Small bug fixes and I was curious, and that's something to be discussed, especially about the grid editor for V9, right? And I saw this reply here that it's intended to make it easier to upgrade existing Umbraco 8 projects using DTG, so don't use it for the new projects, and that's interesting takeout, right?
I think it's an incredibly interesting stance. Now, I don't disagree with Soren here at all. We don't use the grid for anything nowadays. If we can avoid it, we're block list all the way, and we've got a nice block grid-esque setup that works really well. So 100% agree, it's not the solution to be using. And we've been doing some performance work on some sites this week where huge blobs of unstructured JSON like the grid cause really big problems. So this does make sense. I agree with Soren's stance, but it's an interesting stance from Soren, because this is not HQ stance. HQ haven't said anything about the grid disappearing. The Doctype grid editor, as far as I know, is the only. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe LeBlender did get upgraded for 8, but I believe it's still V7. So it's the only grid package for V8. It's the only for V9, definitely. And at what point do we stop? I think what he's saying here is, when any of the UI, any big UI changes come, he's not going to support it, which I think makes total sense.
But that also makes this project and the grid itself die in the normal long-term way. And of course, people need to change. And still, Doctype grid editor was not always used with the grid, right? That's the thing. So it wasn't always the way of doing things. So maybe still are people and
pain if you it's a total pain to do it any other way.
But still, I had a lot of discussions with developers and companies who didn't know even about this package, and they were using grid. They were using grid.
Yeah, I know, and people do create their own custom editors and stuff. I know that Lars Erik, he's a big fan of the grid. They use the grid for a lot of stuff, and that's cool. If it works for you, that's fine. Keep doing it. But I can't imagine not using it without Doctype grid editor or really a tool nowadays.
Same here. So cool. Yeah, great release. The next one is tag helpers and the output from umbraCollab. that's the official name.
Yes, it's an interesting. It's a good name actually. The more you think about it, it's like Umbraco Lab, Umbraco Collab. Yeah, it's good. But this is the Thursday lunchtime hacking sessions that happen on the Discord server that I've not yet joined. But the tag helpers project is something Warren started, and it seems the community is really into contributing to it. That's great. So I know V0.5 of tag helpers was released yesterday. It's on it's on NuGet, etc. But we've got a user tag helper. There's some image ones, cache ones, etc. Like it's growing pretty nicely. This feels to me like at some point, maybe the next of Umbraco, that a lot of these will come into core. They're very, very
and
helpful.
finally, it's also great to see some use case really here, because I saw that the guys describe it as a logged in, logged out situations of handling some data, and some people replied to that yeah, this is finally where I understand for what it can be used. So sometimes it's not enough to say that feature exists, but just describing or maybe even showing off how it can be used is just more effective.
I was having a very similar conversation with Jason on my team yesterday or the day before about the talk he's doing next week, where he's going to show off a feature of .NET that people don't necessarily know exists. And we were trying to see, well, how do we prove, where is the moment where you go, aha, like that makes sense. That's why I would use this. And I think we hit it. Won't spoil anything, make people
don't spoil it. That's fine.
But yeah, like you do need to see exactly the problem it solves. And if you can nail that in a simple 2-3 lines, just say, here's exactly what it does, then yeah, you can change people's minds on things.
Yeah. So yeah, great results from the Umbraco session, and the next is on the next Thursday, I believe. So yeah, let's keep an eye on that. The next release is a new package called Skipper. Inspired by virtual notes done by Sotiris back in the days. So package allowing to skip some notes or paths from URL generation in Umbraco. I loved virtual notes, to be honest. There was a lot of use cases where I found it useful. And yeah, here it is for the V9 version of Umbraco. I haven't used it yet. But it's released, it's open source, and yeah, thanks Martina for delivering this package.
This looks really cool. So it's, yeah, as you said, it's a V9 revival of virtual nodes, but it looks pretty sweet. And actually, if you go on, the documentation is really good for this.
Yes, that's what I'm checking. Amazing. Whoa. Kudos for doing this such a detailed in documentation information how it works.
Yeah, if Martina would like to write some documentation for any of my packages, that would be
great. Or mine. Let's fight. Yeah, that's great package, and definitely worth checking and adding to the list of must-haves for some installations if it does the job as described. And the next one is last from the packages or new releases week summary, and this is the Blazor starter kit from Korne, and it's work in progress, if I'm correct, still being developed for V9 version, and yeah, it looks great, and I think yeah, we're all looking for the final version of it, because it will be third or fourth starter kit.
Yeah, there's a few now. There is a few. Again, we were looking at the starter kits this week. Paul Seal's clean starter kit's really good. But this one, especially with Blazor, it's hopefully this is another one of these scenarios. Someone sees Blazor in action, going, "Aha, yeah, I get it." I'm still yet to find that point, but that's cool. Yeah, Korne's been teasing this for a couple of weeks now. It looks pretty sweet.
Yeah, some new components, and yeah, we'll definitely find out more soon. And one of the opportunities to find out more is events, and maybe jump off to the event section. Umbraco Together, Callum. Quick summary.
Yeah,
from this
happening next week. Distributed Umbraco conference. We've got tickets still available. London, Bristol, Glasgow. We've got some fantastic talks lined up with, people from the community like Matt Brailsford. We've got Paul Seal and Matthew talking. We've got Busra talking. We've got people from HQ like Andy Butland and Philip doing a keynote, and Dan Lister on cloud, and the UI team we had on last week. So like a really fantastic range. There'll be talks on V9 and .NET 5 and 6 and beyond, and where that goes. Some stuff about infrastructure, some of the new features in, as I said, Jason's going to do a great talk about Razor class libraries, and yeah, some really
when the agenda will be released. Do you plan to?
I'd like to say today. We've been doing some shuffling, which I guess we'll talk about in a second. We've been having to move a few things around, but yeah, we've got an agenda. I've shared it with a few people this morning. We'll publish it very shortly. Cool. But yeah, if you plan to come, please buy your ticket. It
Yes,
really helps.
that's
Especially opening
another
out. You know, we've
another
already
step.
confirmed vague numbers with the venues and you know, logistics and everything. So it's not too late, but please buy if you want to come.
Yeah. As I'm coming to London, I'm constantly asking about this agenda, as I
course.
plan to really
Of
attend a
course,
lot of
you
stuff.
will be there. I mean, it will definitely be a packed day, regardless of where
Yeah,
you
for
are.
sure.
So yeah,
But that's amazing, and yeah, just another reminder: if some people are hungry and miss real person events like we do, just sign up and buy your tickets and
we're
hopefully see you
we're
there.
doing everything we can to make it as COVID sensible as possible.
Yeah.
And I was at an in-person event last week in Denmark, and it was all a very sensible affair. So yeah, I think this will be good, and we've got plenty of capacity. I think people can sit like with at least an empty seat between them and the next person, if not 2 seats or something.
Yeah. But you've mentioned some shuffles, and
Yeah.
there was some decision made this week from
Yeah,
your
we had to make a
perspective.
decision on Manchester because the intention was to do four events simultaneously around the UK, and the interest just hasn't been there for the Manchester event, unfortunately. So, oh yeah, go on, I'll say it. We sold 4 tickets total, 4 tickets for a venue with 60 capacity, which just isn't great. Across the other events, we've got over 100 people, which is awesome. So that's kind of like what we were going for, a small Umbraco festival with the core people that would normally come attending in their local events, but unfortunately we've had to cancel Manchester because there's so many factors in here. We don't want to waste people's time going to an event that isn't well attended or doesn't have, you know, the best speakers, the best content. We don't want to waste people's money either. We've refunded everyone that bought a ticket and invited them along to any of the other events. But also, from an organizational point of view, we're the Umbraco Foundation is trying to do the best thing for the Umbraco community. And if the best thing in this case is not running an event that we would have ended up spending or losing thousands of pounds that could have been reinvested into the community in other places, then it's just not worth doing. So in this case, unfortunately, there's no Manchester event, but still Bristol, Glasgow, Edinburgh. No, sorry, Bristol, Glasgow, London. And they
maybe next year.
Really, really good events.
Yeah, I think it's always a tough organizer's decision, but if it's already made, it's just moving forward and adjusting. But yeah, looking forward to all the other ones, and still I organize a lot of meetups for 2 or 3 people, and I know how it is. So it's definitely worth making better and smarter decisions in the long term.
For sure.
But speaking about meetups, there are some meetups aligned as well. The first is a social. Pre-party of Umbraco Together run on Wednesday.
And nowhere near any of the venues. It's I don't think it's a pre-party at all. It's just a social sometime next week for people on the south coast to meet up and have a drink.
Yep, but that's the first event of the week for some of the people, for sure. Then is on the final part of November. There's Edinburgh Umbraco user group meetup, virtual one still, with some guest speakers. Stephen Harland talking about offensive Umbraco. That's interesting topic.
The prequel. It's the prequel to his scary talk that he gave at Code Garden that left everyone wondering, should I go and check a bunch of my sites?
Yeah, and Azure Pipelines demo from Harry. So that really, really interesting event to attend. And the new one announced this week as well is a Christmas social for in Umbraco Leeds meetup group, and axe throwing. Damn, I would really love to see virtual axe throwing and that I can attend, but then it seems like it seems like interesting event to attend. So yeah, and Leeds Umbraco group really will throw some axes.
I've never done axe throwing, but it seems very Umbraco, doesn't it? It's probably not the kind of thing they could have at Code Garden just from a health and safety point of view, but it feels very Umbraco.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe Kim will be running it. That maybe.
Someone the other day asked for a picture of Kim's favorite axe or something. Did you see that on Twitter? Someone was asking.
No, I have missed it.
Axes. And he did invite, I think it was Simone, to come to his cabin and do axe throwing in Sweden.
Yeah, that's life. But yeah, interesting and different for sure. So definitely looking forward to see some pictures from Axe Throwing or
Mhm.
event organized by Umbraco community. So
Hopefully,
yeah, need
hopefully
to
no
be
lost fingers
share it.
or arms or whatever else.
No strategies. Yeah, and that's from the meetup's perspective, and some blogs on the final stage. First of them is about upgrading Umbraco image processor with some image sharp implementations for Umbraco 9. And I think this is going to be a hot topic in terms of
For sure.
migrations. I saw a lot of image crops discussions over the last couple of weeks, and yeah, it's a really great summary here and definition on how to migrate, how to do it, how to make it work for V9.
We've
I
had
haven't
image
I haven't done it
processor.
yet.
We've had image processor bundled with core since V7. Prior to that, did we have was it wasn't in core actually. It was Doug's, what was it, image? Oh,
File system
proper
provider?
throwback
No.
now.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, but we've had image processing in some form in the core for a while. This is definitely a big change. Anyone that's used V7 and V8 been familiar with the different query strings and stuff you can put on URLs, and they're largely different now. So anything that you had before breaks. The other important thing to mention is previously Umbraco did kind of have a tightish dependency on image processor. Image gen, thank you, Paul.
Yes, thanks, Paul.
Did have a tightish dependency on image processor, but now it just builds a URL for the different parameters and then registers some middleware that says, hey, here's image sharp. However, that means you could swap it out for any image processing library that you like if you wanted. And I think all of the URL building for the crop URLs is also an interface, so you can replace that if you want to. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, you'll suddenly find that all of your images don't work. And I think people would have used maybe the image processor blob storage cache and those sorts of things. I don't know if those exist really for
maybe not yet. Yeah,
for
but
image sharp.
Yeah, but that's one of the beauties of the .NET Core implementations. This middleware opportunity to just swap everything basically, and here, yeah, the caching is an interesting topic. So if someone used the caching on top of the new blob storage for V9, share your journey or update Miklos blog here with a comment. And yeah, I think here this meme exactly describes how some of our journeys ahead. I really love this blog post because I don't need to spend 6 hours finding out by myself. So yeah, good one. Definitely we'll link it in the video description. So share your journey if you have been playing with image processor, image sharp, and maybe other image processing libraries out there for the images in Umbraco 9. The next is also Umbraco 9. About the project structure and best practices. And I must admit, I was surprised when I saw John's activity in channel. There is a lot of videos shared by John on YouTube.
John churns videos out like crazy, and not just Umbraco topics, loads of like Next.js stuff and some really exciting things. He did have an Umbraco series going for a while, and he stopped and then did some JavaScripty things, but he's back with the V9 one, and this is really cool. A topic I'm particularly interested in, as I've said before, we've been kind of coming up with our own best practices internally of things we're going to do, and we're going to turn off and change from the defaults. I did a kind of workshop last week where I went through a lot of that at the DK Festival. I proposed a talk to a few events to talk about this stuff as well. Like there's a lot that there's a lot that's different and a lot that you could change. So it's great to see someone putting this in a video and online, and very detailed as well, very, very detailed.
Yeah, still a lot of useful content, and we were always debating that there's no best practice set of series. There's also own practices, but we all can learn so many things from each other. So it's always worth sharing your own best practices and then debate if they're really best or better than something else. But yeah, thanks John for sharing it, and everyone, you need to check it if you are interested in some of the great stuff that can possible to be done with the V9 structures of the projects. And that's from the blog perspective. And the news which hit probably us and reminded us about some calendar issues now is Santa, Christmas. Damn it.
Yeah. Damn. And so
Yeah.
I saw Steve tweeted earlier this week saying, "Would anyone be interested in Secret Santa?"
Yeah.
It completely
I
creeped up
didn't
on me.
reply because I was scared already.
I was scared too, but it's always been a nice thing. The past few years have been a
Yeah,
nice thing. I think
I loved
last
it.
year
Yeah.
my Secret Santa received their present in March because it got delayed with Brexit and a few other things. But yeah, it's been great. It's been nice to receive some things. I got a lovely Italian cookbook last year from Simone in Belgium.
Yeah, I have book about beers. I have book about personal development. A lot of great presents received, and I thought about Secret Santa 2 or 3 weeks ago, and then Stephen just asked about this question, and today it went live. So
Yeah.
Secret Santa is back. Maybe there is a less time to adjust, organize, maybe tailor presents or gifts for specific people who will be randomly picked for the attendance. But we are in the remote online world. We probably can handle, and I think we should be good ambassadors. I same as you. I loved all the gifts which I received, even if they were again links or digital products or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely going to sign up myself
100%.
again this year. It's always this kind of positive cheer and surprise. If you don't know from who you received some gifts as well.
Yeah, and you've got
amazing.
Actually, I was going to say 2 weeks, but it's less than 2 weeks. It's 1 week, 6 days, and 23 hours, 45 minutes to apply now. It closes 2 weeks today, basically, to get your submission in. There's, of course, all of these concerns. If you don't want to give your address out to someone, Jibe are very kindly offering to sponsor and act as like a relay for you. And equally, you can just put your office address or something, tell a little bit about what you're after, what interests you, and see what Santa gets you.
Exactly. So yeah, links will be shared in the video description, but it's on Twitter and everywhere else in the Umbraco sphere as well. Do it if you really want to surprise someone and be surprised by someone too. And two final announcements from Umbraco HQ perspective. Contributing gold partners. I saw a lot of great messages, tweets, blog posts about it this week because Umbraco renewed and announced some new partners in this area. And to maybe remind about it for a while, it was gold partners who are giving back to the product or community around it, some of the
running
work
events
hours
or doing core PRs and stuff on work time. It's not just, you can't just employ someone that's very active and let them get on with whatever they were doing before. You have to kind of actively give back.
And to be honest, whenever I share how some companies and our community collapse in this area, it's always a surprise for some of the other communities and teams and companies. I'm always proud about all of the partners, all of the companies, because it's not common these days. Unfortunately, it's not. There is a lot of people who want to do open source work, but they don't have opportunities to. And thanks to all of these companies, some renewed partners from all over the world and new partners, people and we can benefit from it, and the whole Umbraco project and ecosystem definitely benefits from it. So yeah, big congrats and kudos for all of you out there, all of the companies from renewed and new partners, 13 new partners and 23 renewed. So list of partners are growing as well. It's growing. So yeah, then if there is any company maybe inspired by these movements, I think it's good to also mention that this is possible to do the same. It's not like it's impossible to do similar things, and there is also a way to dive into this list for the next year. There are some criteria shared.
There was some case studies in this post shared, some kind of anecdotes of how teams work internally. I know there was some stuff from Spin Dogs in there as well. Like it just shows the kind of the different way of thinking that some of these companies apply to contribute more.
And I think it's very it's one of the things which convinced me to do the Umbraco project and Umbraco works, because this is how we can feel a part of something bigger than just our teams sometimes, right?
Exactly. I tweeted because we got awarded for the first time, and I tweeted that actually we live and breathe Umbraco, and kind of day-to-day work-wise, and a lot of our team out of work too. And so this is this is it's a nice thing to get recognized for, but it's not like it changes anything. It's not a goal for us. It's just we love doing what we're doing, and it's nice to be recognized for it.
Same as MVP titles, right? The same
kind of discussion here. It's like an MVP award for a company.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, congrats again to everyone. And standard segment at the end of the episode, a new hire in the Umbraco team. So this time Soren joins the cloud team as a product owner.
This is a really interesting one. This is a product owner for the cloud team.
Yep.
So this is not. This is kind of Philip was taken on actually as the program manager, wasn't he, for CMS? It wasn't as such a product owner, but I was talking with a few people at HQ last week, and the plan is definitely that we're going to see more dedicated product owner roles for different aspects now. So whilst we've only ever really had one for CMS, we're now going to see it for every single stream of the of HQ, which is really, really cool. I also had the pleasure last week of going to see I guess I'm allowed to talk about this. Sorry, Anders, if I'm not. But there's HQ got a new office. So their Unicorn Square is too small, way too small. Has been for a long time, as we've joked before about having shifts and like stacking desks and stuff. But office is too small. So they're moving in the same square. They've got a big office opposite for 160 people, I think. And so I think we're going to, when they've got a bit more space, we're going to see far more growth happening there too, which is exciting. They're still keeping, for now, the original
engine room.
The engine room. And the new one has got an engine in it as well.
Really?
But that's a much smaller one.
It must be tough to find an office specifically with engine room. If you're looking for,
that's the requirement.
I'm looking for office space, but there must be an engine room in it. So that's but yeah, that's exciting. Yeah, and I think it was a kind of bottleneck and stopper for some of the movements, and now it's and coming back to this product owners, I think we've been discussing it a while ago that there needs to be a separation between teams, and I think this product owners can definitely be the ones who separates and keeps the things closed in the teams, and yeah, observing bigger companies and a lot of companies going granular in the teams of smaller amount of people, it seems like a really nice move, and yeah, it might just help probably.
For sure.
So yeah, that's all from the list of our news collected for this week. Again, if we missed anything,
there's one thing we didn't mention, which is not that big news, and I don't know how much of a secret it has been, but Shannon, of course, announced this week it was his first week at Microsoft, which we've been sitting on for like 6 months because he was trying to get back to Australia to start the job and couldn't. But congrats, Shannon. He's on
congrats.
The Azure infrastructure, Azure quality infrastructure team. And I think Aaron,
I was going to say that.
Aaron said, when you find out what that team does, let me know.
Yeah, but that's, I tried to open Twitter to read it, but exactly, it sounds interesting. Quality infrastructure security team. So yeah, Shannon,
it's as if they've got some Azure infrastructure that's not high quality.
Or maybe someone needs to keep an eye on the quality and keep it consistent high to maintain. But that's always interesting, and of course I think it will take a while to establish the role within the team. But yeah, we talked about it, that Shannon will stay close to the community, and I'm sure that he will contribute to Umbraco and products around Umbraco for more. There was a discussion about Smeech as well. This week somewhere about his package for minification of the resources, and I don't know if there was a new release of it or something done on top of it. I can't remember now, but definitely Shannon will be contributing back, and maybe we can ask the question what he is really doing in his role after a while. But congrats again, congrats officially, and that's a good change again, and information from the old community member, old HQ member. So yeah, if we missed something else as well, let us know. We will transfer all of our links to the video description as soon as possible. The next week, Umbraco together. A lot of people is coming to UK and all the locations. So yeah, let us know if there's anything else happening the next week or weeks. See you all each other next week as usual.
Indeed. Yeah.
Thanks everyone. Have a good